Dude, seriously? After all the work we just did, I have to dig this septic right back up. You gotta be kidding me. Last night, horses came through here and destroyed my septic system. All right, we're digging this thing back up. Is it against the law to build your own septic? Having a septic system installed can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Is there a way to get around that? Well, it's all going to depend on where you live and what type of septic you're building. Today, we're going to be creating our own septic system for this off-grid cabin behind me. We're going to be using a simple 55-gallon barrel, some shell rock that we dug up from the property, and we're going to make it easy using my new track hoe that I got. So previously, our pipe comes out of the house here, and it went into a homemade septic that I made about 3 years ago. This septic was simply made out of a red plastic tote with the pipe running inside the tote. And we put a little bit of shell rock down on the bottom. Now that I ran this over with my tractor, it's time to build a bigger and better one. We're going to be cutting this 55-gallon barrel in half and making it into our own leach field chamber. So yeah, you might be saying, Justin, it is illegal to do a septic system that way, and especially without it being permitted. I'm going to show you the best way to do it, and I'm also going to show you the legal way to do it. First, you have to use your Greywater in a way that it minimizes contact with humans and pets. The second regulation is going to be no ponding. Make sure that the water doesn't pond up and there's no way that any animals or anything like that is going to be drinking from it. You also want to make sure that the hydraulic capacity of your soil is not exceeded. In other words, you don't want the soil to be mushy and soaky, soaked with, gray water. Number 3 is no sprays. In other words, don't hook it to a sprinkler system and spray it out. That is not a legal way to get rid of your gray water. The next thing is going to be no runoff. In other words, the gray water that you produced on your property needs to stay on your property. It's not allowed to run off to your neighbor's property. And last is going to be a no-brainer. No discharging gray water into lakes, streams, or anything like that. While in essence not completely prohibited, gray water use in Oklahoma is regulated. You must comply with the established guidelines. Well, let me tell you exactly what the Oklahoma law says on the gray water. Using less than 250 gallons per day, I never use that much water. Applying it directly to the soil using a sub-drip irrigation system, and that's what we're going to be doing here. Ensuring that it's not sprayed, no sprinklers. Minimizing contact with people and pets. Not discharging it into waterways. Vertically separating it at least 5 foot from the groundwater table. In other words, if your groundwater is, 5 foot below, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. But that's not the case here. We're at least 25 foot from our groundwater. All right, let's get to digging up this old homemade septic that I put in. Okay, so in order to get this done the right way now, we've got to cut this out here and that end out there. And we got to leave that end on over there, and we have to leave this end on over here. Then we're going to put a hole in this end for our pipe to come through, and then the water is going to travel through the underground chambers. We'll show you here in a minute. All right, so basically this is the concept here. Set it in there, and then we take the other one and set it in there, and you're basically building a underground chamber. That chamber is going to be able to hold the water underneath it without the dirt mixing into it, because the dirt's going to go over the top of the chambers. Now, before we put the chambers in, we're going to have to put shell rock down on the bottom. All right, so we went ahead and drew a circle here where our pipe's going to go. We're going to try to cut it out with this multi-tool. It's going to be the easiest thing. We don't have a big drill bit for this, so. All right, we're gonna see if this thing will fit over the pipe here. We might have to go a little bigger.
No, I'm not directly on it.
Yeah, we still might have to go a little bigger though.
Yeah, you gotta go slightly bigger.
All right, never mind. We got the pipe to we got it to fit over the pipe. So, all right.
So once we put the dirt on top, it'll push us down.
Yeah, everything will be pushed down as long as it doesn't get too much here to where it harms the pipe. Oh yeah, yeah, we're good, man. So now we're gonna take this one. We're gonna set it over the top of this one here, and then we're gonna go ahead and screw it to it so it doesn't come loose. Okay, so we decided not to screw them together. They don't look like they're gonna come apart. We're gonna go ahead and fill it in around the edges so we don't have to worry about it, and I think we're gonna be good. So basically the concept is to create a void underground or a chamber underground where the water can just go into it and then seep down into the ground. So if you just had a pipe running into the ground and then you had dirt all over it, well, when you tried to run the water out of the house, it would just get stuck and stop and back up. And so you have to create this void underground, or this chamber, where it kind of pours into the chamber, and then it's actually going to seep down into the ground. And that, my friends, is how a Greywater septic is going to work. All right, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for this job. I'd like to pack it in and track it in a little bit with the track hoe, but I can't really do that because of the plastic barrels. So we just kind of had to just scoot the dirt across the top here and cover it up. You got to be kidding me. I haven't even got to use this thing yet. Last night, horses came through here and smashed my septic system. All right, we're digging this thing back up. I'm going to try to salvage my septic chambers. I got this thing dug up enough here where I think I'm going to try to use a track hoe here to pull this barrel out here. And then I'm going to try to knock that barrel back up there. I'm going to try to push that barrel back out where they indented it in. Yeah, what a mess. I haven't even used this thing yet. All right, so let me get this thing out of here. Eating cactus? Huh?
The only thing over here is an area that he was...
Boy, don't be eating cactus, Eli. Come here. Okay, that wasn't a great way to start off the next day, but it is what it is. We've got it all fixed and back together now. Yeah, so the next thing I'm gonna do here is build some type of barrier to keep any animals from stepping on it again. But I thought I heard horses out here. I am finding like horse droppings everywhere, whatever they call that. Horse manure, whatever it is.